Chris from LaserLemming.com, and today the name of the game is actually the developer's name, and that is Platinum Games. And the reason I want to speak about Platinum is because they've been kind of hitting the news a lot recently. Most recently, it was with the Legend of Korra downloadable game hitting the PS4, PS3, Xbox 3, everything except the Wii U kind of deal. And that's coming from publisher Activision. They decided to pick up Platinum Games to develop a Legend of Korra game that's from the Avatar series. Now, there's been some Avatar games in the past, haven't done so hot review-wise, probably rightfully so. But then you get a developer like Platinum Games, who are known for their high-quality third-person action games, and it just kind of makes sense. And I think this kind of legitimizes Platinum for a lot of people that probably would have never picked up a Platinum game before. So I think that's kind of cool. But I think the fact that this game isn't hitting the Wii U is kind of weird because Platinum really likes Nintendo. They really like Nintendo, and that's clear from a lot of the interviews they've been doing and a lot of the actions they've been taking, but that's not really up to Platinum now, is it? It's up to Activision, the publisher, and the fact that Activision thinks that an Avatar Legend of Korra game wouldn't do well in the Wii U speaks a lot of volume because, historically speaking, publishers like Activision, EA, and anybody else, especially the Western publishers, have typically had no problem putting licensed games, especially licensed kid games, on Nintendo hardware. So it's really weird, I think, that this isn't hitting the Wii U, especially since the Wii U's had a bit of a turnaround since Mario Kart 8. Now, these business deals probably went signed on the dotted line well before Mario Kart 8 ever released, but it's kind of telling. So there's that. Platinum's doing big things, and supposedly the game's getting a positive preview so far, but it's only just been announced. We haven't really seen no real gameplay footage of the game yet. But hey, you gotta trust Platinum. So there's that. Now, something else with Platinum. They're releasing Bayonetta 2, as you probably know, for the Wii U exclusively. When this was first announced about 2 years ago, people went apeshit. They said, hey, why is a Nintendo console getting an exclusive sequel to a game that most Nintendo gamers probably never played? It was a kind of foolish argument because most people that owned a Wii probably owned an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3 or both, in addition to owning the Wii. So it was kind of a silly argument. But at the same time, there were people like me. The only taste of Bayonetta I ever got was through a PS3 demo. And if you know the story behind the PlayStation 3 version of Bayonetta, you know that it's not the best version of the game. In fact, it's a pretty shitty version of the game. So I didn't fall in love with the game. That said, I wasn't totally on board for Bayonetta 2 as a definite purchase for me because I hadn't played the first Bayonetta. It doesn't look like a game that you necessarily need to know the complete story about. In fact, I've grown really weary of shitty video game stories. But at the same time, I just kind of want to experience the first game. I want to be able to play it because it was a very popular game. And then Nintendo announced during E3 that if you buy Bayonetta 2, you're going to get Bayonetta 1 for free, and it's going to be an upgraded version, 60 frames per second, high def. I believe it's 1080p, and it's going to have Nintendo costumes that do Nintendo-like things, and it's going to be completely free. Sold. I'm fucking sold. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it day one, whatever. It's a beautiful thing. Now, Platinum also announced a different game at E3. It was called Dragon Commander, Sorcerer, Slytherin, Lizard People, Dragon Man, the game. I forgot what it's called, but that's an Xbox One exclusive. Supposedly, Mr. Hideki Kamiya, he's the guy who directed The Wonderful 101, another Wii U exclusive from Platinum, has a bit of a beef with Sony. It's not like an official thing, but he talked a lot of trash about the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. He had an issue with the PS4 not being backwards compatible. But by the way, I believe he's directing this Xbone exclusive Dragon game, but that console is also not backwards compatible. So I think he just has a problem with Sony. But there's that. the thing I wanted to kind of drift on towards and fumble my way towards topic-wise was exclusivity with Platinum. Because Platinum, outside of Bayonetta 2, I believe that's their first sequel ever, outside of that, they've just been this new IP machine. They've just been putting out new intellectual property every step of the way. They've been going with... I wanted to give you a ranting list, just like they did this, they did this, they did this. How about this? They did Vanquish, they did Bayonetta, they did Mad World, they did this dragon game, they did Beautiful... Well, it's the same guys, but they didn't do Beautiful Joe. They did Wonderful 101, that's what I'm trying to say. These guys just pump out new IP like it's nobody's business. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool, and that's something that they like to do. Now, there's a lot of people that keep wanting Nintendo to buy this company, and Platinum really sounds like they're open to the idea. They sound like they're open to being a Nintendo-only company, because they were speaking recently about Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 1, and they were saying how much of a symbiotic relationship they have with Nintendo, that Nintendo really kind of guides them in the right direction from making a good game into a great game, with the case of Bayonetta 2. And I thought it was kind of cool. And Platinum really sounds open to the idea of getting a buyout and some security, because even though Platinum puts out a lot of these niche games that are very popular amongst a certain amount of people, they don't typically sell all that well. So if they had somebody like Nintendo, they would definitely sell a little bit better. But when they would have somebody like Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony owning them, they'd also have less freedom. They wouldn't necessarily be the company that makes a Legend of Korra game published by Activision, because that's not something that would happen exclusively to any console. That's my thoughts on this. I think that it would be interesting if Platinum became a Nintendo exclusive developer, or a Microsoft exclusive developer, or a Sony exclusive developer, even though that sounds very far off at this point. I think it'd be interesting, but I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Got a comedy channel, you should check that out too. You should also check out laserlemming.com. We got lots of great reviews, news, views, and articles too. And subscribe for more if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.